Oh, he's very dangerous because he got a big hook, and he has a lot of punching power actually. But the problem he has is that he's fighting the best hooker in the game. So I'm not even concerned about how dangerous he is. It doesn't matter how bad I'm gonna do him with my left hook. I gotta teach him how to hook. I am a professional hooker. I am gonna teach him how to hook.
A professional hooker in the boxing sense, of course. Any intention to fight Anthony Mundy?
I'm looking at fighting Roy Jones Jr. You know, it's like asking if I'm going to fight my grandma. It just it pales in comparison to fighting Roy Jones Jr. That's another matter for down the track. It doesn't at the moment. It's not even in my mindset.
And if the fight Danny Green v Roy Jones Jr. does come off, where would you see that ranking on the list of Australian fights in recent years, indeed all time?
Oh, I'd say it'll go close to being one of the biggest ever. Like I said, Roy Jones Jr. will be the biggest name that's probably ever come to these shores. So I'd like to think I've got a fairly solid following down under as well. And, hopefully I'll be the Cruiserweight champ, and Roy will want to take my title from me, or he'll want to try and take my title from me. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's a buzz for me.
Well, let's go back to Roy. Roy, as I mentioned in the opening, you've spent some time in Australia, one visit here for a month while you filmed The Matrix. How would you be received in Australia? Would you have some support out here, do you think?
Yeah, I think I have support there. I mean, you got to understand, I loved it in Australia. I had a great time there. It's nothing personal. It's just strictly business. I mean, and for me to be able to be the biggest name to have come down there since Jack Johnson, that's a huge accomplishment for me even. So it's not like I'm coming down there to degrade or taking the credit from anybody. It's just that Danny Green happens to be the guy who's going to probably be the Cruiserweight champion. He got a title that I don't have, and I want it. So there's a perfect opportunity for me and him. He wants to be a part of the biggest fight to happen down there ever. I want to be a part of the biggest fight to happen down there ever. We got to make it happen. And it's not about dividing the fans. I mean, I know more people going to support him than me because that's his home country. So you'd expect that. But the fact that we can get together, talk like me, and make a fight happen, then come down there and give everybody, leave it all out in the ring for the fans. Blood, sweat, and tears, all for the fans. That's what I want to be a part of.
You know, like I said, it's hard to say that because, I grew up looking at the bloke thinking, wow, there's photos and pictures and posters of him all over my wall as a young kid. But my job's to take down a legend. Simple.
Well, they're calling in from everywhere to be part of this announcement. Let's go to David in New Mexico. It's over to you, David.
Thank you. Danny, I had a question for you. Your opponent, Dominguez, he fights a pretty different style from Roy Jones Jr. Has this has the Roy Jones Jr. fight affected your preparation for Dominguez? I mean, Dominguez is more of a straightforward brawler, and Roy Jones, I think, is more of a well, obviously, we all know what kind of fighter Roy Jones is, and he's a very different fighter than you're going to be facing against Dominguez. How's your training going as a result of that?
Yeah, I spent a couple of weeks in Fiji surfing, so training so far hasn't actually stepped up a hell of a lot, but keeping fit. But for me, I'm fighting in America. I want to give the American fans what they want to see, and they want to see, like Roy Jones Jr. said, they want to see a blood, sweat and tears kind of fight, and myself versus Dominguez is what's going to give the American fans a very good introduction. I fought in the States once, won the super middleweight world title up in Montreal, but to fight on the same show as Roy Jones Jr. where there's going to be a massive crowd watching, I want to let them know what this what this Aussie's capable of doing against a tough hard nut in Dominguez. The Yankee fans, they want to see a good old-fashioned, red-hot battle, and that's what we're going to give them. So really, my focus is against Dominguez, is just giving the American fans, a good, solid test and let them know what I'm all about. And then from there, we'll focus on Roy Jones Jr. But obviously, we're starting to mentally prepare for a guy like Roy. It'll take you a lifetime to prepare for him mentally, but we've already started. And like I said, I'm saying a lot of things that would suggest I'm giving Roy Jones Jr. too much respect, but that's the kind of bloke I am. But really, in the back of my mind, I don't want to say too much, too many belittling things or too many disrespectful things. I've just got to keep that for myself and let that internal, fire rage, because once I get in there and touch gloves with Roy, there is no respect. I'm there to knock him out.
Roy, you mentioned the fact that obviously you haven't fought professionally outside of the States. What would bring you to Australia? Why would you come here as opposed to never having gone anywhere else before as a professional?
Well, two things. Number one is, like Dennis said, no discredit to him, or not trying to not be too nice, but not say bad things, because Dennis is a great person. So if I can get with Denny and we can fight there, it'll be probably the most historic boxing event that's happened there in like over 100 years. So it's like that's a big fight for me. And when I was in Australia, the people treated me with great hospitality, including Denny, Jeff, Anthony. Everybody looked out for me from a major standpoint when I was there. They treat me like I was family. So if I'm going to go somewhere and take a gamble, I'd rather go somewhere where I feel like I can be treated at least fairly. And in Australia, I feel like they'll treat me fair. Hey, he can knock me out. He got to do what he can to try to knock me out. If I can knock him out, then they're going to say, hey, you knocked him out. So if I come there and kick his ass, they're going to say, hey, you kicked his ass. If he kicked my ass, they're going to say, hey, he kicked your ass. So it's just how it is. So I look forward to coming because I know in Australia I can get a fair shake. I'm not concerned about it being like Korea was. In Australia, I got treated just like I was a regular person. And I really appreciated that. And I look forward to coming back.
But also, Roy, you were saying before about how good a hooker you are. I've got my man here, Hayden Knowles, who's my strength and conditioning coach. We've got a rugby league team, or we've got a game called Rugby League in Australia, and they've got a certain position on that team called a hooker. And his main job is to train hookers. So he's now in the game of training me as to be one of the best hookers out there. So we're going to match hooks, buddy.
There you go. I love that. I match my hook against anybody hook.
They're professionals. They've been around. They know what they've got to do. And you know, once we get into training camp, it's locked down, the picture's on the wall, and that's who we're fighting, and they go ahead. But you know, I'd just like to say, you know, obviously Roy's one of the best ever, and you know, Danny Green, it's going to be a clash of two styles, completely different. Roy's a bigger puncher and a better brawler than people give him credit for, and Danny's a better boxer and a bit flashier than people give him credit for. So when two clash of styles like this come, this will be the biggest fight in the history of Australian boxing, and the problem the promoters have got, is what Roy said, is to find the venue big enough and suitable to get all the Australian people and people from around the world and around Australia will come to this fight. This will be the biggest fight ever in the history of Australian boxing, probably never get topped.
If there are no more questions from the floor, I'll fire a last one to both boxers, and it's the same one to both boxers. You are both well into your careers now. Danny, to you first, and then Roy, you can follow. What's exciting you about boxing at the moment?
What's exciting me about boxing at the moment is my upcoming fight. That's pretty much it. That's all I'm looking forward to. But yeah, my third world title in a third weight division, you know, history in the making for me, and also putting on, you know, Green Machine Boxing. Justin Manolikas has done a fantastic job in putting this fight together with Roy's bloke over there, John Wirt, and they've done a fantastic job negotiating. And so Green Machine Boxing, we're looking at putting on the biggest fight that's ever been staged here and bringing down the biggest name ever. And for us, that's what the fans want to see. And for us to provide that, I'm looking forward to getting into training with H and also with my strength and conditioning team, fast4football.com. The guys are going to have me absolutely powering, and I can't wait. So, yeah, Roy, I'll see you in New Orleans, buddy.
All right.
Roy, you're still as excited about boxing now as you were in 1989?
The most exciting thing to me right now is, like he said, is preparing to fight Jeff LACY right now, get that out the way, then to come to Australia because it's my first time out of the country since I turned professional. And it's like, to me, that's like new territory for me. And what better place to share that with than in Australia? So I really appreciate the way they treated me when I was there, and that's really one of the main reasons why I'm coming back there, because I know in Australia I can come and be me. They're going to appreciate me, they're going to enjoy me, and they're going to cheer me on, although they make cheer for dinner a little better. That's cool, though, because I'm there to change all that. So that's what I come for. I look forward to it, and I can't wait.
Okay, Roy, I know it's getting late in Pensacola, Florida, so we'll let you go off and get some sleep. Thanks for joining us.
Get your rest, Roy. I'm coming for you, mate.
This morning over here and this evening over there.
Thank you.
Danny Green, great to see you in the flesh. Angelo, Hayden, thanks for joining him. We wish you all the best in New Orleans, August 16, but thanks for joining us today, and it's worth reminding everyone watching at home.
It's not New Orleans no more, it's Biloxi, Mississippi now.
It's changed. It's Biloxi, Mississippi. I have to speak to my manager, Justin. He's got to inform me it's changed.
Well, one thing that hasn't changed is the place that you can see it, as I mentioned a couple of times already. Main Event Boxing on Foxtel, on Austar, on Optus, and of course Fox Sports Pubs and Clubs from 11 a.m. Sunday, August 16. Mark it in your diary. It's the next step in these two great boxers, Danny Green and Roy Jones Jr., hopefully taking a step towards fighting each other. They've told us it's going to happen, and it's going to happen before the end of the year. What about that will be? We can see Roy Jones Jr. celebrating already over there, looking forward to that fight. We're looking forward to the steps towards it. Make sure you tune in. Again, thank you to everyone who's joined us in the audience, and on behalf of Fox Sports News and Main Event who have taken today's feed live, good afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you again very shortly.